Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending where you are in the world. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. I'm excited for today's presentation. My name is Heather Grant. I am one of the community admins at the Maintenance Community by Upkeep. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are not already a member of the maintenance community on Slack, we would love to have you join us. We will drop the link on how to sign up in the chat in just a moment. Today I have with me Ricky Smith. Ricky is our expert in residence at the maintenance community, meaning he puts on one webinar just like this every single week for all of our members. The recording from today's session, as well as the slides that you see here today, will be available in the maintenance community tomorrow. Ricky himself is also available to answer any questions live in the Slack group. If there's anyone else you know then who would benefit from hearing some more of Ricky's wonderful expertise, please feel free to send them either the replay of this webinar or the invitation to Slack directly. Final piece of housekeeping, and then we'll go ahead and get started. You'll notice that your cameras and microphones are not turned on today. So what you'll want to do if you have any questions for Ricky, or if you want to answer any questions that Ricky may ask of you, you'll use that chat feature on the right-hand side of your screen, where we are going to put the link. You can say hello, let us know where you're joining from as well, and use that to ask and answer questions throughout the presentation. We should have a few minutes at the end of our discussion to answer any questions that you may have. If we don't get to everything, we'll be sure to answer the rest of your questions offline in the maintenance community, but we will get to them for sure. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and Ricky, I will hand it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome everyone. Hope you enjoyed this short presentation today. And if you got questions, you can always send them to Heather, and she'll pass them on to me. So, one of the things I always say, without effective maintenance process maps, an organization will never achieve stable maintenance processes, and thus continuous improvement is not achievable. It's not. And, maintenance process mapping is the #1 tool that I believe is used to manage, to align people in any process. Doesn't matter what process it is. We have to have a process map in order to do that. A lot of times people spend a lot of money on training on it. And if we just map the process, get people to follow the process, the training's there. It's already there. So some examples of maintenance process maps. This is Alumex Mount Holly, 1978. This world-class model. And 2005, lean maintenance. And then my rules of thumb book for maintenance and reliability engineers, had in my book, it talks about, aligning the reliability strategy with the business goals, identifying the physical assets contributing to those goals, prioritizing the assets by consequence and risk, and establish targeted performance requirements. And from that, the work identification, work planning. Work identification is work that comes from planning and comes from preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, and work requests. Then it goes to planning, it goes to scheduling, work execution, and follow-up. This is just a sustained maintenance improvement loop: work planning, scheduling, work execution, follow-up. And then we have the performance analysis based on the data. And then a process map with swim lanes. We're going to talk about swim lanes. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with swim lanes, but they're a great way so people understand in a process, how do I fit? And I see my name on it, or my position, but how do I fit in this process? I mean, do I just kind of follow everything, or is there something specific to me? And we're going to talk about that. All right. So for all attendees, I want you to text in your answers, yes or no, to these questions. Does your maintenance department have process maps? If your maintenance department has process maps, do they follow them? If your maintenance department has process maps, are all steps in the maintenance workflow process, are they there? And then, do your maintenance process maps have well-defined roles and responsibilities for each position? And then, are your maintenance process maps aligned with key performance indicators?
We have a bunch of people sending yeses and nos, but I'm not sure to which question they correspond. Yeses and nos across the board for almost everything.
Okay, let me back up one moment. There's only two questions I'm really concerned about. This one right here. Does your maintenance department have process maps? Yes or no? Everybody answer that one first, okay?
Couple of no's, one yes, another yes. Someone says yes, yes, no, yes. Again, a pretty mixed bag.
Okay. So about half.
Yeah, about half.
What about if your maintenance department has process maps, do they follow them? That's the big question.
Someone says yes, not always following. Yes, not always. Yes, not always. Again, about half and half. Another one says yes, we have it, but not always. Not always. Maybe a few more no's than yes.
What about if your maintenance department has process maps or all the steps in the workflow process? In other words, in your process, is your maintenance workflow process good, solid? Yes or no?
One says, I think so. Well, that's Jeff. Hello, Jeff. Another no, no, yes, no. No, we just redid them and implemented. Yes, but a few hiccups.
Yeah, I respect them.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So top 6 reasons organizations do not use process maps. People don't see the value of process map. I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't know how many companies I go into. The first thing I ask them for is process maps. It's like, we don't have process maps, or, one of the, number 2, tried using process maps once, but no one seemed to follow them. Seen that a lot. We got them. I'm working with a company this week, and great company. They got process map, and no one could even find them till today. Did not know how to use a process map. Thought process map was only used for production. Never heard of process mapping for maintenance. And you did not know what you did not know. I mean, I've always said that. You don't know what you don't know. All right. So what is process mapping? Process mapping is a technique of using flowcharts to illustrate the flow of a process, proceeding from the most macro perspective to the level of detail required to identify opportunities for improvement. Maintenance matches this perfect. Process mapping focuses on work rather than on job titles or hierarchy. The purpose of process mapping for organizations to improve efficiency. And process maps provide an insight into a process. Helps teams brainstorm ideas for process improvement, increase communication, and provides process documentation. And the process, mapping definitely helps us identify bottlenecks, a repetition, or delays. I mean, one a good bottleneck a lot of organizations have is, let's think about this: maintenance planning and scheduling. Is that a bottleneck? It shouldn't be, but in a lot of places it is. So I'll just ask everybody here, do you have an effective planning and scheduling, or is that a bottleneck in your organization? I mean, you may have planning and scheduling, but is it a bottleneck? Yes or no, everybody?
Yes, it is a bottleneck. Yes. Bottleneck, yes.
Yes.
We're working on implementing the process. Yes. Certainly.
A lot of organizing. I hit a hot button there, on you guys. So, I figured that. I mean, I knew that because I've seen it too many times. Think about this, okay? If you're planning to drive from New York City, I'm sorry if you live outside the U.S., but if you drive from New York City to Las Vegas in 5 days, which route do you plan to take? And then where do you begin? So identify a map. You got to have a map to get there, especially if you got only 5 days to get there. Identify time, date, and location to arrive. You got reverse planning. Reverse planning, just like when you do an outage, you got to say, okay, I got an outage on this date. I got to reverse plan that. You'll need to know the following. Okay, you'll need to follow GPS, no doubt. What is that in our perspective? That's the CMS. A map is a backup. Okay, we got the paper trail, right? In maintenance, if you do not have a process map, you'll never reach your destination. And this is one I found I thought was kind of interesting. There are process maps like this, believe it or not, and it is a true process map, but I don't know how you can figure out where you're going or how you're going with that one. So how do you know if you need to map your maintenance process? If reactivity is rampant in your organization, production and maintenance see new problems occur every day, absolutely we need to map the process. Stockouts a norm. You go to the storeroom, parts aren't there. Probably no one has that problem. Stockouts are when a maintenance part of material is required and it's not in stock. That's what stockout is. Maintenance metrics do not match what you see. So PM compliance is 100%, but my gosh, we still got breakdowns. We just did PM on that machine yesterday, and now we got a breakdown today. Let me ask you this. I got to know this. How many of you ever seen that? You did PM on equipment one day, and the next day you have failures, or within the next few days? Somebody tell me yes or no. Have you ever seen that? I got to know.
Someone says yes, of course. Not recently. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Go back to what? Go ahead.
Just more people typing saying yes, yes.
Okay. I would say, what insanity is: performing preventive maintenance on equipment continues to break down. It's not logical. You probably need to take my PM class, PM optimization. Maintenance cost is out of control. Hey, we got no more spending this month. We're out of money. Okay, don't buy anything unnecessary. All right. And every day is a new day and new problems appear without anyone aware of the problem. You see a problem here? I do. These are actual shots, believe it or not. They're actual pictures. The one on the left, yep, that came from a maintenance organization. It scared me to death in that place, especially when they got these big, large overhead cranes and they're moving heavy objects. I'm like, if that's the shot, I wonder what's going on in that crane. So why process maps are critical to all maintenance organizations? One, to ensure everyone follows the same process, thus receiving consistent results, good or bad. Worst thing that could happen is we change the process map. With everyone following the same process, easy to adjust, no longer meetings required. So the long meetings we always get when we have a problem, they won't be required anymore. In order to receive the right data for managing maintenance consistently, we got to have that. And it's easy to change a process map than change the way everyone thinks a process should work. That's the biggest thing for me. If I could, it's just like a procedure. If I have a repeatable procedure, the same thing works the same way to bring chaos under control. Because process maps help us bring calm down in our organization. Let me ask you this right now. How many of you have a maintenance process map, a high level, in your maintenance shop? Anyone? Don't give me the deer in the headlight look, okay?
We have a couple of no's. Someone says yes in all spaces, including planning. No. Flowcharts as well. Oh, flowcharts on the wall. No, yeah. That's a good idea. No.
But it's kind of on the wall. It's a good thing to go when you have a problem. Like last night, you may have had a problem with whatever. You go to the process map. Say, hey guys, where did we fail? Not how they fail. How do we fail? Companies who are reactive do have process maps, or they do not follow the process maps, in the maintenance process. They may have them, but they still don't follow them, or they think they follow them and they don't. Here, this is the big deal. You look at world-class maintenance costs as a percentage of replacement asset value, 2 to 3.4%. That is the number one standard in the world for maintenance costs. That is what world-class maintenance looks like. Typical cost is a percentage of replacement asset value, 4.5 to 11.2%. A lot of money. Process maps will bring that down if we do other things right, but the process maps is critical to it. So here's a process mapping poll. Does your organization have process maps? If not, why? Okay. If so, are you familiar with them? If so, does everyone follow them? If so, how effective is your maintenance organization at following them? If so, does your maintenance metrics align with your process map? Okay, go ahead. Just give me a flat, most we do, not at all, all of them, or what? Tell me what you think. So does your maintenance organization have process maps? If not, why? So you can just say, we don't have them, or yes, we have them. And if so, are you familiar with them? And if so, does everyone follow them? And if so, how effective is the maintenance organization at following them? And if so, does your maintenance metrics align with your process map? Probably gonna have a lot of, so just give me a kind of, Heather, give me an idea of which one you think is the heaviest,
All right, we'll watch it for just a second.
I think we're done.
All right, we got more no's than yeses, a couple of mostly's and hardly's, but more no's than yeses.
All right, let's move on. This thing about, if a step in a process is skipped, performing a substandard level, it can create defects known as failures. The output of a healthy reliability process, optimal reliability at optimal cost, but we got to have a process. So what are process maps? Process mapping is a technique of using flow charts to illustrate the flow of a process, proceeding from the most macro level, high level, to the level of detail required to identify opportunities for improvement. That's why we have the top level and we go down. That's why we have our leading and lagging KPIs aligned with high level process maps. So if we have a problem, we can dive down into it and find out where the problem is. Process mapping focuses on the work rather than on job titles or hierarchy. Why use it? To allow, really to allow a team or individual to identify the actual flow or sequence of events in a process. It's nice for them to know that. How many people really understand, like, planning and scheduling? How many people really understand all the steps in there? And a lot of people don't. Process maps can be applied to anything from the travels of an invoice or flow of materials to the steps of making a sale or service in a product, it's all the same. Process mapping allows a team to picture the work itself outside of the organization's hierarchy. And the most common pictures of a person's job has been organization charts. Process maps help us picture the work itself, not the organization. So process maps impact on other processes. Process maps typically can impact process maps, that of an organization, positive and negative, they're not followed step by step. So like if our maintenance process is not followed correctly, then it will have a negative impact on our production process. So process maps are created for a reason, to align everyone in the organization toward a common goal. I want them to see the same thing and go forward to that same thing we want to do. Example of process map for maintenance schedule will impact OEE. If this process is not followed, it results in breaks to the maintenance schedule, resulting in lower OEE. And probably none of you have ever seen that, I'm sure. Some examples of process maps, very complex one. It's very difficult. I mean, unless you've got this really blown up, very, very large on a screen on a laptop or on a desktop, very difficult to be able to follow it. And here's a very simple one. This is on maintenance scheduling, okay? I'm gonna take you through this one. So this is a little bit different than probably you've seen before. So on maintenance scheduling, we have a ready work order listing. And this is the computer brings them out. So ready to schedule means the parts are kitted, we got the procedures, we got everything ready, the labor's available. So here's the ready work order listing, okay? Now the next step is 30% of our work orders that we're going to apply, in the next week's schedule, it's going to be PM. It's not negotiable, not negotiable. In any proactive organization, we don't negotiate that 30%, okay? And that comes from the CMMS. So the preliminary schedule is maintenance season. They already got their 30% in there, and the rest of the things the planner and the maintenance supervisor says they need in there. The next plus, we got this, we go now into the next one, production, how they see it, okay? So they've got their priority in there. So it typically it's going to be greater than 100%. That's what we want. And then we have the negotiated schedule, okay? And the schedule, usually in the scheduling meeting, we've already negotiated the schedule. Scheduling meeting should take no more than 15 to 30 minutes. And then we go out and we publish the schedule. So what do you think of that process map for maintenance schedules? Anybody ever seen one like that? It's very simple.
I'll wait and give you an overall answer again. So far, we have a couple, mostly all no's so far. Yeah, all no's so far. Someone says high level, simple. Another no.
I'll tell you, making a process like this is totally different than anything you've seen before. This makes sense. It really makes sense. It makes it simple for anybody to understand how the workflow works in maintenance scheduling. So most of them said no. Anybody say yes?
Everyone said no. Richard said high level, simple, which maybe means that they've seen it at this high simple level before, but everyone else said no.
All right, you need to go to my maintenance planning and scheduling class then, okay? I'll send your planner to it. You'll get to know it very well. All right, let's move on. So the value of maintenance process mapping can show unexpected complexity, problem areas, redundancy, unnecessary loops. And where we can simplify something and standardize it, may be possible. We may even not know it because we haven't mapped the process. Compare and contrast the actual versus the ideal flow of a process to identify improvement opportunities. Allow a team to come to an agreement on the steps of the process to examine which activities may impact the process improvement. Oh my gosh, that's a big one right there. Identify locations where additional data can be collected and investigated. It's like we were just talking about PM compliance, okay? So if you got PM compliance is 100%, but we got a lot of breakdowns. So the data we're collecting says PM compliance 100%, but our breakdowns are high. Maybe we need to do an investigation on it. So what do you think could be the problem if we're performing preventive maintenance, but failures continue to occur? Anybody? Give me an idea. What do you think causes that? I'm sure nobody has that problem, I'm sure.
Richard says maintenance is not addressing the failure mode.
Yep.
Wrong PM tasks.
Yeah.
Not right PM tasks as well. Random failures. Pencil whipping.
I like that pencil whipping.
To do an RCA.
Yeah.
Maybe maintenance strategy needs to be changed. Not understanding why something failed.
Yeah.
I've seen that scheduling less to make the compliance KPI looks good, but maintenance fails by doing this.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about comparing PM labor hours versus emergency urgent labor hours. It shows the comparison. Forget a PM compliance is 100%. I want to know the labor hours. That tells me where the people are going. Allows alignment to ensure process is accomplished repeatedly. If we get alignment that people follow the same process, then the work should be accomplished repeatedly the same way. If a problem in the maintenance process occurs, root cause analysis could quickly identify possible causes, even just something as simple as the 5 whys. We don't have to get into a Pareto chart or anything else. A lot of times the 5 whys will give us the answer to it. So an example here, simple maintenance process map, maybe all that we need, maybe. So how do you know if maintenance process maps need to be created, a possibly, like some of you've already said, maybe dust it off, get it off the shelf, wherever it's at, your maintenance organization is reactive. Until you admit you drink alcohol too much, I mean, your maintenance is reactive. You'll never solve the problem. I always tell people, it's like an alcoholic. Alcoholic won't solve the problem, won't quit drinking alcohol till they admit they drink alcohol too much. Same thing with reactive. We got to admit we're reactive, and then we can do something about it. No one's seen a maintenance process map or even knew they were needed. Yeah. I'm going to drive across the country. I'm going to have a map. Your maintenance organization was proactive once. However, no one knows why, how it changed, possibly leadership change. Man, I've seen that so many places. We get leadership change and maintenance leadership. All of a sudden, man, we're doing great. And then once maintenance leadership changes, we go down the tube. Everyone has a different opinion on how the following process is supposed to function and should be aligned. I mean, no doubt about it. Preventive maintenance, how it should be done, predictive maintenance, maintenance planning, maintenance scheduling, materials management, work execution, work order closeout, and maintenance dashboard. I mean, these things are important. So the benefits now of mapping the maintenance process is aligns everyone's vision and the value of the maintenance process to include the following positions. We want to see the same thing. We want to have the same vision. The maintenance manager, the maintenance supervisor. So when we talk about PM compliance, all of these people should know how important it is to the process. Senior maintenance tech, maintenance planner, scheduler, stores manager, production manager. Oh my gosh, production manager. That'd be a good one. Ensures everyone follows the same steps in the maintenance process, from work order identification till we close the work order out. So I ask you this, how important is work order closeout compared to the other process steps in the maintenance process? How important is work order closeout? That is closed accurately. Somebody tell me, is it highly important or not important at all? Or somewhat?
Very important. The most important.
It is the most important. Because if we don't close out the data right, we don't have data to make the right decisions. Absolutely. If you have your maintenance process map, you begin having issues with maintenance metrics, and they're not aligning with what's happening on the floor, what you see and the metrics don't match, an RCA can be conducted. Okay. So here's a Ishikawa diagram, or a fishbone diagram, whatever you want to call it. It's just contributing factors is what that Ishikawa is for. So here, just looking at this, the results that we expect, and then where are the problems at? That's all. So recommended steps when mapping the maintenance process. I like what Albert Einstein said. The significant problems we have cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. No doubt. So 1, determine your maintenance costs, labor, materials, parts for the last 5 years. For the last 5 years now, and determine if everyone is satisfied with it. No excuses. Just be positive. I want a trend. Okay. I want a trend line for labor costs, material costs, and parts costs. Okay. It'll tell you a lot. And maybe your parts and material have to be the same. That's okay. Don't worry about production downtime and stuff like that. That gets too much noise. We don't control. Step 2, create a team of key stakeholders. I want a facilitator. I want someone without a stake in the outcome. And it could be an outside resource. If you got a local university, smart engineer major or something, they can come in and they can facilitate it for you. Maintenance manager, stakeholder. Maintenance supervisor, stakeholder. Senior maintenance technician. And when I say senior maintenance technician, I want the senior maintenance technician with the best attitude. And then maintenance planner, scheduler, stores manager, production manager. You guys agree with those? Am I missing something in that step 2? Somebody tell me, am I missing with something in there? Somebody, a stakeholder we may need in there for mapping the maintenance process. Text it in to me if I miss something. Someone.
Planner, manager.
Yeah, if you have a planning manager, yes.
The engineering department.
You could have that. Yeah, why not? I think it'd be important.
Would a junior tech maybe be included? They could potentially have valuable insight.
That's a good idea. Junior tech, maintenance tech. That's a great idea. I like that idea. Hadn't thought of that.
Reliability engineer, shift leads.
Yeah, I understand with reliability engineer in there. I don't want them to facilitate it. Because I've been in organizations, but the reliability engineer takes over, and I'm like, what's everybody else here for? You know. But he got it. He figured it out. It worked out very well. Anything else?
Process engineer.
What is it?
A process engineer.
Yeah, process engineer is not a bad idea. They have a stake in the game. Educate the key stakeholders, and maintenance best practices are world-class maintenance. They need to be educated in it, the key stakeholders. Educate the team about the value of mapping the maintenance process. And then use this presentation if you want. You can go on my website, you can download it and use it. You know, you can use any of my presentations on the website. I don't mind. You know, you put your name on it. I don't care as long as you do something with it. Create a RACI chart, roles and responsibilities. We can map a process, but if we don't define roles and responsibilities, it's going to be very difficult to get people aligned and get them focused in the right way. Create a plan. I like the crawl, walk, run methodology. Crawl, once you can crawl very good, like a baby, okay, then you start walking and you stumble a little bit, but then you start walking good, and then before long you start running. That's what's the crawl, walk, run methodology. Okay. Put this one in a bad place. All right, hang on a minute. All right. Somebody messed up on the graphics there, like me. Okay. Human-induced failure. Identified high-level maintenance process maps for the maintenance supervisor on, and then identify leading and lagging KPIs for all maintenance process steps from work identification on. Team meets for 10 minutes a week, review progress, constraints. So what you're doing is you're trying to work together. You're working together to try to solve this problem. We want to map our process because our process maps are not consistent. They're not giving us the value we expect. Okay. So defining roles and responsibilities for a process map. Assemble a team of people involved in the PM success, the planner, supervisor, technician, reliability engineer, production, whoever, some of the people we talked about. How many of you have ever seen the RACI chart before? Anybody?
Well, I have. We got yeses from the audience. A no.
This is process map is to align everyone's focus on the same thing and with an agreement on the same thing. So we have certain people, the positions go across the top horizontally, okay, and define the processes. Processes are down vertical, okay, required for success and preventive maintenance. So we got the first one on the task, create and manage asset criticality. It's important. Identify all components, and parts. Identify how each component will fail. Write repeatable PM procedures. Measure and monitor PM effectiveness. Modify PMs if necessary, and manage maintenance KPIs, leading maintenance dashboard, leading and lagging KPIs. Educate the team on what an effective PM looks like, and then prepare key people before you assemble the team. The reason why I like to prepare key people before I assemble the team is I want to have, and key people, I mean, if you've got an influencer on your team, an influencer, I want already bought into whatever we're going to do on roles and responsibilities before we go into the meeting. Facilitate the team through a RACI process. Then post a RACI chart with the PM KPI dashboard. I want everybody to see it. Whose roles and responsibility? And A, like on that front one, on that top one, asset criticality, plant manager is accountable. On each line, you can only have one A. I learned this in the Army when I was at the Pentagon for a short period of time working on a lean project. I learned this, and I'll tell you what, it was amazing how well this works together. So A, accountable, one person. R, responsible, can be multiple people. Consulted, two-way communication. I, one-way communication. No reply expected or accepted. All right. So process maps, detailed steps. We'll give you some examples. Okay. So here are the process symbols. These are standard symbols for process mapping. So in the upper left-hand corner, we got the start and finish. We got task, activity, online activity, flow, data input, sub-process, and so on. So you see in this, with a process mapping, it can tell us which, what are we doing, okay? So in this one, we have a PM inspection. So we have the results from the PM. And then we have a work request, okay? So maintenance work's coming from the PM inspection, the PM, the results from PM, and the validated work request, validated, okay? So next, we prioritize the work order. Prioritize the work based on asset criticality and defect severity. It's called intercept ranking. So if you look at this chart I've got, and it says criticality on the vertical and horizontal defect severity. And then you move over to the chart that says criticality, severity, order. So if it's high criticality on this one, severity is 1. And you can build an algorithm in your CMMS or in an Excel, Access spreadsheet that can do this for you. It gets to the answer quicker on what we're going to plan and schedule. Okay. So next is planning. It's a process, right? A sub process. The process overall is proactive maintenance. Okay. And then we have job plan packages. So what is that there? It's data. Okay. Job plan packages. It says stored data, but I can use it the same as for work order. Okay. Scheduling. Okay. So it's ready to schedule work orders. So what percentage of my work orders are ready to schedule? And typically this is done in labor hours. But you can't do it by work orders. I used to do it by labor hours. And then work order closeout. So what do you think? Very simple, not complicated. How many of you can do this? All of you. I know. I got you. Hopefully the one thing you got out of this is intercept ranking. That's a big deal. I teach that in my maintenance planning and scheduling class. Somebody just text in something.
Just everyone saying that they can do it.
If you think you can do it, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're right. What do you think? Okay. Why line swim lanes for your maintenance processes? The answer is to align everyone's understanding of their roles and responsibilities. These swim lanes are a big deal. Now, how many of you have seen swim lanes in a process map? Anybody?
All yeses so far. A couple of no's, but still mostly yeses.
Good. Okay, so an example, maintenance planning. If any maintenance process, in any maintenance process, a detailed process map should be created like this one when the plant or facility was built. This is when it should have come in that we had one like that. Let's identify, what some of the responsibilities in the maintenance planning process. Would this be helpful? Absolutely. So here's the planner and the planning process. So you look, it looks like chaos, but what it does is allow people to work together, to align, saying, why am I not doing something right? I guess got on here, create work order, assign consignment spare parts, release for work order, consignment stock and vendor. I don't like consignment stock. Adjust consignment stock, don't like that either. Spares and own stock. So I guess that's in the storeroom. Issue spares, your own stock, issue spares. Okay. So you see the gist of it. You've got different people in the swim lanes and it works very well. what to do when you return to work. Pick one. If you know you need to make an improvement on your process mapping, share this presentation to your maintenance leadership. Okay, to your leadership team, not your maintenance leadership overall. And that's why I recommend you get the slides. Pick one or two items in the presentation, educate your maintenance team. Don't give them a lot. Take baby steps when you return. Begin with the process which has the greatest opportunity and will make the biggest impact. Now, what I like from you right now, if people have questions on this, I want you to text your questions in right now. Okay. And I'm sorry, my maintenance best practices workshop's coming up. But if you have questions, please text them in right now. So we're not over yet. Okay.
A couple of people typing.
I think this is an important part of to answer questions.
Yeah. A question from Duncan here. He's asking, what would be a good process map to start with? Our organization currently has none.
High level, top level. If you send me an email, I'll send you one, to use one I like to use to start with. Okay. Yeah. I would start with simple first, like I mentioned earlier.
And then get more complex from there. Another question here from Ken says, do you recommend doing a brown paper exercise first?
Yeah, brown paper works well, but you got to have a good facilitator. Yes. Brown paper is putting a big paper on the wall and we map the process from one end to the other and we make changes on it as necessary. It works. There's no doubt. I mean, what I like is if you got a monitor whiteboard where you can write it on a computer, like on a pad, and it shows it up on the screen, that works well too. But I never had that choice. So yeah, the brown paper works good. All right. Who's next? What's next?
What's the easiest way of process mapping? From Washington.
Steal it from somebody else. Borrow somebody else's information like mine, and make it better. I mean, if it's copywritten, of course you can't. Nothing I got is copywritten. I don't copyright anything. I want people to use it. So, and if you can't find it, send me an email. If I don't have it, I'll find it for you. Okay. What else?
More typing going on. Could you share your slides? Yes, they'll be available in the community tomorrow, as well as I believe Ricky said they are on his website there, worldclassmaintenance.org.
Yeah, they're there already. I downloaded them uploaded them a little while ago.
And then Craig asked, are these workshops virtual or in person? If in person, where?
In person, be at Southern Wesleyan University outside of Clemson, South Carolina, which is about 30 miles from Greenville Spartanburg Airport. So it's not a big deal.
No problem, Craig. Some more typing going on. Any other questions? Maybe questions that I missed throughout the presentation. My apologies. I'm scrolling back to look now. Yeah. If I haven't asked a question that you previously asked throughout the presentation, please repaste it as I'm going to look as well.
If you get on if you join one of my workshops, you'll see Heather on there all the time. She's facilitating.
Yes. I could, I guess, facilitate all these maintenance process mappings, maybe.
Yeah.
Just joking. A little more typing going on, but I didn't see any questions up in the chat that I did miss. We'll wait another second for some typing to end. But thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. I hope you found it valuable for you. Go to my website. There's a lot of stuff on there. You don't have to use your email address or anything to download whatever you want. All right. Take care. Thank you very much.
You'll also receive this recording directly to your inbox so you can rewatch it as well. Here's some of this great advice again. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I'll see you all next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.